Okay, let's get into this. Today we're doing a deep dive that goes way beyond that one big moonshot idea. We're looking at the actual hard work it takes for an organization to build a real engine for innovation that lasts.
Exactly. Not just one spark, but a sustainable fire.
We've got a great stack of sources here, all focused on creativity in these high-energy, agile environments. And they all seem to circle this one big question.
It's a classic problem, isn't it?
It is. Why does that amazing, chaotic, creative spark you see in a tiny startup, why does it just seem to fizzle out the second that company grows up and, gets successful?
It gets structured, and the magic disappears.
Yeah. So the authors of our main source, their journey started when they realized that, well, traditional training was failing.
Completely.
So their first attempt at a fix was this thing they called Inspiration Days. And this was really key.
Right.
It wasn't some mandatory HR session. It was a once-a-month workshop with world-class speakers from fields that were, well, all over the map.
We're talking people from cognitive psychology, astrophysics, conceptual art.
Yeah.
Not just more engineers.
Right.
And that's the whole point. You can't schedule a good idea. You can't force passion. The sources are really clear on this innovation needs, and I'm quoting here, fertile ground and stimulating inputs to grow.
If you only feed your team more details about the product they already work on, you're breeding sameness.
Exactly. So this whole deep dive really boils down to one core idea. Sustainable innovation isn't about luck. And it isn't about finding some lone genius. It's about structure. It needs a system.
A repeatable system.
A repeatable system. And the framework we're digging into today is it's this really practical 3-part framework for turning those random sparks into a real capability.
Okay, so let's lay them out. The 3 elements are 1, hire for curiosity, 2, feed the creative engine, and 3, institutionalize the innovation process.
That's it.
Let's start at the very beginning then with the people. Element 1, hire for curiosity, not just competence.
This is such a huge mental shift for most companies.
It really is. The argument is that technical skills, well, they're teachable. And in a fast-moving field, they'll probably be obsolete in a few years anyway. But that inner drive, the curiosity.
That resilience. You can't train that into someone. You have to hire it.
So you're looking for something totally different in the interview. You're trying to find people who just naturally explore beyond the job description.
Right. You're looking for creative minds who can connect ideas that seem totally unrelated, the so-called smart generalists who learn fast.
And people who don't give up.
Yes. People with perseverance who aren't crushed if their first idea is a total flop. The authors call them people with polymathic interests.
So if you find a coder who spends her weekends studying 16th century architecture.
That's not a distraction. That's the fuel you need for real innovation.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually.
Yeah.
But how do you actually spot that in a 45-minute interview? It sounds tricky.
It does, but the framework has this brilliant, very practical tool for it. You bring a simple logical or mathematical puzzle into the interview. And here's the most important part. The solution to the puzzle is completely irrelevant. It does not matter if they get it right.
Ah, so it's not a test of their smarts. It's a behavioral observation.
Precisely. You're just watching how they react. Do they get flustered, or do they actually seem to enjoy the challenge? Do they think out loud, explore different angles? That process tells you so much more about their potential than their resume ever could.
So you're testing for that intrinsic motivation.
You are, and this lines up perfectly with academic work, like Teresa Amabiel's Componential Theory of Creativity. She says you need 3 things. Domain skills, sure, but also creativity-relevant processes and that intrinsic motivation, the puzzle test for that motivation.
Okay, so you hire these curious people, but any corporate environment can crush that spirit pretty fast. Which leads us right into element 2, continuously feed the creative engine.
Right. Curiosity isn't a one-time thing you hire for. It's a muscle that you have to keep exercising.
The sources are so clear on this. It needs constant, varied, and, sometimes really weird stimulation. It's not enough to just hire well.
And it has to be part of the culture, not just another meeting on the calendar. So we're talking about bringing in guest speakers from totally different worlds. A climate scientist, an artist, a social innovator.
Yeah, someone who just forces your team to see problems in a completely new way, or even just dedicating time to watch and discuss a really challenging TED Talk or a documentary that has nothing to do with your product.
Or getting people out of the building, sending a group to a hackathon or a design meetup. The core idea is that good ideas don't come from a vacuum. You have to deliberately inject these unusual cross-pollinated inputs into the system.
But this brings us to what I think is the biggest failure point for so many companies. You get all this great inspiration, you have a brilliant idea in a meeting, and then
It's gone. 3 hours later, the day-to-day work has completely buried it. An idea is useless if it's forgotten.
exactly. So that's the gap.
It is, and that's why the sources insist that the very first practical step before anything else is to have a simple, frictionless idea collection tool, a place to log those sparks the second they happen.
And that need to capture the chaos
Mm-hmm.
that takes us directly into the third and I think the biggest element, institutionalize the innovation process.
Yeah, this is where it all comes together. Since inspiration is unpredictable, you need a predictable system to catch the ideas and actually do something with them.
A structured cycle.
A lightweight, yearly cycle. It's designed to take an idea from a random spark to a real, tangible prototype in 4 clear stages.
Okay, let's break that down. Stage 1 is idea collection, and it's running all year long.
Right. And the tool for this has to be dead simple and open to everyone. A digital board, a physical wall, whatever. Anyone in the company can post an idea.
And what do they need to post?
Just a short description, maybe a quick sketch. And some simple tags like technical, UX, business, that's it.
Now, hold on. This is where the sources say something that I think a lot of managers would struggle with. No filtering at all.
None.
So no filter for, like, business relevance. Don't you just get a fire hose of noise that wastes everyone's time later?
That's the pushback, always. But this is probably the most important rule in the whole framework. You have to protect the weird ideas.
Protect the weird ideas.
The moment you ask, can this make money next quarter? You kill all the strange, boundary-pushing concepts that lead to real breakthroughs. The authors found that the most transformative innovations always started out sounding a bit irrelevant or strange. Stage 1 has to be a safe space for those fragile thoughts.
Okay, so that makes the next stage even more important. Stage 2, the selection panel, which happens once a year.
And this is a cross-functional team. You need engineering, product, business, all in the same room looking at every single idea on that board.
And their job is to pick what? The top 3 to 5.
The 3 to 5 most promising ones. And the criteria are very specific. Clarity of the concept, potential impact, and this is crucial, feasibility within a 2-day sprint.
Okay, so if it's a 6-month project, it's out.
It's out. It has to be something you can build a prototype for fast. But the panel's job isn't done yet. They also have to remove friction.
What do you mean by that?
They have to make sure every tool, every piece of equipment, every data set that a team might need is already there before the sprint starts.
So you don't have a team losing half a day because they're waiting for a software license or for a special sensor to be delivered.
Exactly. It's an organizational failure if that happens. The panel's job is to ensure the teams can just focus on creating.
So after the panel picks the ideas, what happens?
There's a company-wide kickoff. The people who submitted the winning ideas pitch them to everyone, and then the employees choose which project they want to work on.
So it's self-organizing teams, not management assigning people.
Right. It's all driven by passion and interest, which is exactly what you need to fuel stage 3, the innovation sprint.
The 2-day creative marathon.
Yep. It's high energy, immersive, open to everyone. It's basically recreating that startup chaos, but inside a structured event. The only goal is to turn that idea into a working, demonstrable prototype. Fast.
And the company provides the tools to make that happen.
An arsenal of tools. 3D printers, microcontrollers, drones, cameras, all the software ready to go. You want to remove any reason for a team to have to stop or leave the room.
And that intense sprint leads to the final step, stage 4, demo and celebration.
This part is so important. Every team demos their prototype to the entire company. People vote, winners are recognized, and then you celebrate. The sources are very specific about pizza and beer.
Of course.
But that celebration isn't just a party. It's the final step of making innovation legitimate. The winners usually get some kind of follow-up backing, maybe some dedicated time or seed funding to take their prototype to the next level.
What I love about this whole cycle is what it does to the culture. It's about so much more than just a few new features. It legitimizes creativity. It sends a message that this is what we do here. This is expected and respected.
It totally changes the dynamic. Now, before we wrap up, there's one thing that is intentionally missing from this whole framework.
Right. Intellectual property. IP. You don't see it mentioned anywhere.
And that is a very deliberate choice. The sources treat innovation and patenting as two completely separate paths for two big reasons.
Okay, what's the first one?
First is just the difference between innovation and patentability. They aren't the same thing. You can get a patent for something that isn't really a business innovation, and some of your most powerful innovations, a new workflow, a new process, might not be patentable at all.
So the focus is on real-world impact, not legal paperwork.
Exactly. And the second reason is all about speed. The patent process is, well, it's heavy, it's slow, it's complex, it's a ton of admin.
And that would just kill the energy of a 2-day sprint.
It would bring it to a grinding halt.
Yeah.
You can't have legal review slowing down a rapid prototyping session. You innovate at speed, and then if something truly warrants it, you can start the separate, slower IP process later.
That makes perfect sense. So if we pull this all together, the recipe for sustainable innovation here is, it's simple in its parts, but it requires real discipline to pull off.
It really does.
So, 1, you hire curious minds. 2, you constantly feed them with inspiring, often unrelated ideas. And 3, you give them a clear structure, that cycle, where their ideas can actually be captured and built without getting lost.
It's a huge shift from just hoping for creativity. It's about creating the right conditions. It turns these isolated sparks of genius into a predictable rhythm for the whole organization.
So I guess the provocative thought to leave everyone with is this. If you look at your own organization right now, where are your great ideas dying quietly? Is it in a meeting where they're shot down for not having an immediate business case? Or do they just get forgotten because there's nowhere to write them down the moment that spark happened?
That's the question.
That difference between the unfiltered idea board and the selective panel, that's where all the magic happens. Thank you for sharing your sources for this deep dive. It's been fascinating.